Hello, everybody. This is Linda DeVitas, owner and founder of healingsonthego.com. I'm a psychic clairvoyant medium, certified healer, Reiki healer, crystal healer, professional space clearer, dolphin healer, candle manifestation channeling, and a whole bunch more. To find out what I do, go to healingsonthego.com and click on the service page. I would like to introduce my special guest today, Matthew Pinyard, to the show. Yay! Welcome, Matthew.
Hello again. It's the third time we've done this.
Third show.
And I'm happy to say that, this is now out. So
that's awesome.
Yep.
It's awesome. And to those that do not know who you are, he is the reincarnation of Jim Morrison. He remembers his past lives very clearly. He remembers, he gets flashbacks. Actually, I would let you tell them what exactly, how did you come across that you really were him in another lifetime?
Yeah, no, it was tricky because I was raised Catholic. So some Catholics do not believe in things like past lives and reincarnation. They say the Bible doesn't say that that's true. And really, the Bible doesn't really talk about it. What happened for me was a movie came out in 1991 called The Doors by Oliver Stone. And for some reason, I really wanted to see that. I was really into their music. And I was like, why do I know these lyrics? Why do I kind of look like this guy on the cover of the album? Why do I have the same mole here? Why do I have the same middle name with one S? Well, why was I born 3 years after him? And the more I delved into the lyrics, the more I realized, Jim used to say, please stop and remember we were together. And that's really what I believe. I believe that our souls can have lives prior to physical incarnation. And I believe I was with him his entire life, and kind of more like a conjoined souls in one body type of thing. And he alludes to that a lot. I was just watching. It was funny, Linda, I don't think it's a coincidence either that the Oliver Stone movie I referenced was on last night.
Oh, wow.
And, at the very end of it, towards the end, he says, as the plane's flying and he's going to Paris to die, he says, we're reaching for death on the end of a candle. And that's something I started doing in my own ritual at Catholic Church, and it was producing enormous things like the things we'll see in the photos in the skies, enormous healings, prophecies. Part of what this book is about is prophecy and miraculous healings. And there's quite a few stories in here that people will not be able to deny. What happened was otherworldly, if I can use that term. So,
and a quick hello to Anne, Helen, Ria. Welcome, everybody. Please do like and share. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, Ria's a fan.
Yeah, she sure is. She loves Jim Morrison. Was that your crush, Ria? I know it was. Everyone loved Jim Morrison. He's a very handsome fellow, and he had a lot of talent, of course. He's #1 in the whole world. Everyone knows about him. So
the irony is I'm not flying around in Learjets. I don't have 4 or 5 homes. So I gave all that up.
For your humble life. Hi, Ria. Hi.
The way I look at it, spiritually enriched life.
Right. That's right. It's a different kind. Exactly. So those of you that don't know of his past life, again, he remembers he has marks. And I want to bring up the picture, if you can, Bobby. Him standing up, he has 3 marks. The side of his, where was it? On the left side. Yeah, there you go.
So this actually, I found this last night online. There's quite a few Jim fan websites on Facebook. And when I saw this lady who oddly enough, her last name is Morrison, which I love. Okay. Jim was a prophet. He wasn't the devil. Exactly. But she finally put something up there that I've been saying in my books, that the 3 moles that Jim has right there to the right of his navel, which I also have in the exact same place, in case anyone's doubting my story.
I want me to ask you to take out your shirt. I'm just kidding.
That would turn into a different rating for your show. And then I'd get hauled back to Miami. But, so the significance of those moles, and she got it. She nailed it right on the head. They come right there, the Orion Hunter belt. Jim talked about that galaxy too. That's where my personal belief, because I know, is that's where on heaven. There's Ancient Aliens talks about we are a seed race from an ancient alien race called Anunnaki of Orion.
Right.
This is not something I just conjured up, in my mind. So Jim was a prophet from there. He saw ahead of time. He was granted a glimpse 50 years into the future. And in numerous things, he talks about kiss the hunter of the green vest who has wrestled before with lions of the night. So he foresaw my coming after him, and that I would be in the military wearing a green vest, and that my job would be basically what a Catholic priest called me recently, which was a mystic. Also, I've been fortunate to exercise some pretty nasty things off of the earth and get photos of them leaving, which is significant. I've shown those photos to many people, believers and non-believers, and they all say that's a demon. It has eyes and horns, and so Jim and I both were here to fight those things. Jim, the way I look at his life is he more or less lost that battle due to his own quote unquote demons. But before he wrote down some incredibly prophetic and amazing lyrics that are literally coming to fruition just now. And that's the pure definition of a prophet. And that's what he is, and that's what he was.
Exactly. It's amazing. And what other marks do you have? I know there's one on your face, right?
Yeah, so Jim had one right here. He also had one right here. I used to have one here, and it kind of fell off over time. But yeah, I mean, it's the lip structure too. If you look at the way our top lip kind of bows.
Wow.
And the eyebrows, definitely. If I grew my hair out longer, it would look exactly like that.
Wow, that's pretty freaky.
Yeah, my jaws pretty similar. As you'll hear, our voices are almost identical singing. And it's funny, actually, there's a song where if you play it, you can hear distinctly two voices on the track, on the recording.
Wow.
So it's one of the most amazing things that I think a lot of people overlooked because they just weren't sure what was going on with him.
Yeah, exactly. They thought of him like drugs and all this satanic stuff. Meanwhile, it was the exact opposite.
Well, the drugs were, in the literal sense, his way into that portal where he was to receive that prophecy.
Right.
So I was watching the movie last night again, and there's an incredible song he sang live called "Not to Touch the Earth," and in one of the lyrics was sun, 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 moon, moon, moon. And my first book, I have literal photos of the sun and the moon turning into three spheres.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
He foresaw me seeing that happen and getting a photo of it. He literally, it was projecting 50 years into the future. Wow. And saying someone is coming after me with the same marks, same similar features, and that will have the same message. And that message, I think Jim hated what happened in Vietnam. I'm a military veteran. I hate what's going on in Ukraine. Yes. And I hate to hate, that's not, God would say love, but there's so many things right now that are happening globally that are terrifying. I have my own thoughts about what just happened in Maui. And that's one of the most terrifying displays of ruthlessness that I've ever seen, in my opinion. Yeah. Wow. But we're going up against, global domination of governments that have weapons that can wipe all of us out at the moment.
I know, it's pretty freaky. All we have to do is pray.
That's the one thing I would tell everybody. I do a rosary every morning, and it's the best part of my day. Not everyone is gonna do that or experience or see what you see or see the things we see in the sky. Exactly. But it doesn't mean that we can't open ourselves up and get up into 5 dimensions and higher consciousnesses.
And you know what I find very freaky, speaking of Jim, is that your wife looks like his, what was it, girlfriend? Was he married? I don't even know. No, right?
Kind of more like, not technically legally. She was more like a live-in girlfriend, Pamela. Yeah, it's really fascinating because Carol looks so much like her. Wow. And it's hilarious because she is not necessarily a fan of the Doors. But I'll tell you a story. We were at a bed and breakfast a couple of years ago, and she came out of her room and went, "Oh my God, you look just like Jim Morrison." Like I was sleeping, and just kind of And she just like, you look just like him, you know.
Wow.
And the other day I was going through a coffee shop and the young girl goes, "Oh my God, you look just like that guy, Jim Morrison." So, I mean, this isn't just something I, conjured up off of my own imagination. I do have memories. I have things like clothes. I remember clothes. When I see old photos of him, I'm like, man, I remember that shirt or those jeans, or concert memories too. I have pretty scattered memories of Paris. And it was funny, when I was a kid, I had a memory of, I was at a friend's house and there were colored beads on a wall, and I had a really, like, it really threw me. I had a visceral, like, negative reaction to the beads. And it was funny because a couple of years ago, there was a documentary out. It was like the last 24 hours of Jim Morrison's life. And Pam had strung colored beads around the bathtub.
Wow.
And that was not widely reported before. And I was like, well, there's a memory that, I can prove that my weird thing with colored beads has a basis in a past life. And
wow.
Yeah, so
it's all cell memory. The soul remembers, and then you start seeing things and your intuition pulls you to it. How old were you when you felt like you were him?
I was around 16. They were kind of reissuing the Doors on CD. You remember CDs when CDs came out? So they were kind of reissuing all the music. And, I went and got the CDs, and I was like, why do I want to? I knew something super important was buried in there. And I just didn't remember how prophetic what we put down. And it literally, what my books are, my first 7, is a lot of them is unraveling all those lyrics of all those songs.
Wow.
Because some of them, like, Soft Parade, or When the Music's Over, or even the end, you get into some of the lyrics and you're like, what is he talking about here? This guy's, he's cuckoo. So I'll give you an example. In the end, he talks about the blue bus is calling us, driver, where you taking us? On a blue rock, on a blue bus. So significance. He foresaw that one day I would be in the military. He would be with me in spirit. And in the military, they would drive you around on these big blue buses. So he saw that in his third eye. The other thing, the blue rock. So in high school, I was on the football team, and we were called the Shamrocks, and our uniforms were blue. So that's the blue shamrock, the blue rock. So he did all these things knowing that your general public, your general listener isn't going to unravel it, but that his half brother would, or his next incarnation would. And it truly is a case of where the two of us were together. There was a death, but there was a rebirth. And the rebirth, the amazing thing is, I could show you 6 different photos of me and him, and you'd have a hard time picking out who's who.
Wow, that's amazing. It's amazing. You're blessed that you remember it, because not everyone remembers their past lives. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Not everyone loved him, but, the movie did a little bit of a disservice. There were scenes in there that were kind of more Hollywoodish and didn't really happen the way that, if you talk to his bandmates, they would say that didn't really capture him. He wasn't a jerk like that. Most people remember him as this really soft, sensitive, highly spiritual person. That doesn't mean he wasn't attacked with, things. I think there was, like myself, a lot of trauma in early life. Wow. And sometimes you self-medicate from that. But all in all, he was a prophet, and really saw our future here on earth, and that he would be with us still. Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, that's for sure. Some people ask, they say, well, if you were Jim, like, does his spirit stay on the other side? How does that work? That go, well, your spirit, is just changing a costume, playing a different role in this life.
I'm also a big believer. I've written about this young child that passed away in Indiana that's in my books, and he's had some incredible supernatural appearances to me, meaning like a giant pea will be in the sky. A giant pea in a rainbow appeared on a day his brother had been in a rollover car accident. Wow. I think what you realize when we do leave our bodies, that our spirits can be everywhere all at once.
Yes.
I also believe, and I think this is highly possible, there could be another guy that claims I remember being Jim Morrison. Like, what I mean is, I think that we can come back in multiple incarnations if there's a need, if there's a necessity, if the universe requires it. You know, one of the things right now that scares the living heck out of me is, you know, this, and this is not, again, I think everyone feels this way. We have a ruling class right now on the earth of billionaires that can dictate policy to us at will, with little or more ramifications or anything that we can do legally to you know, combat this. There's a documentary right now on pay-per-view called The Ruling Class. And it talks just about how some of these titans that some people think are just these amazing human beings got their money by, you know, indentured servitude and slavery within their factories. And it's really terrifying to me how much power they seem to have over military, police, legal systems. And that's what Jim would say. Yeah, this is, you know, Jim called it a loose obedience to a vegetable law. What he meant was the law is going to be applied unequally, meaning the law you and I have to follow is not the law that these jet setters have to follow at all, right?
Right, that's true.
Some of them are living above the law right now, and I believe literally getting away with heinous things that we may never see justice for if we don't rise up and hold people accountable, hold our politicians accountable. Exactly. But yeah, there's so much greed and war right now, and these are the things that left Jim, you know, in a state of brokenness, because he was sensitive. You know, he's very sensitive. He hated things like Vietnam. Yeah. You know,
that's why he sang about it. He felt like in his songs he was very depressed.
The Unknown Soldier is a good one. So The Unknown Soldier also has a real good reference to he and I. So he says, wait until the war is over and we're both a little older. Wow. So he foresaw another war, being Iraq, you know, the Middle Eastern war. And he was saying, wait until that's over for us to do our thing, meaning bring through the other kingdom, crack open the gates, bring the sun, and the moon, and the crowning of the sun, and all the hundreds of thousands of angel photos we've gotten since in the skies. I know we're going to show some of those, but and tons of them are in this book. If you can see this book, you know, there's an angel flying up right there, spreading its wings. I took that. That is not Photoshop, folks. That literally was in right above my roof. Yeah. So these things do exist. They're multidimensional and they can appear and disappear, and they're here to try to help. But in the same vein, we have a world right now where I would say the problem is failure to discern the fallen, the lower energies, right?
Exactly. Anne says, thank you for your service, Matthew.
You're welcome.
We're going to take a very quick commercial break, and we will be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned, everybody. Hi, I am Linda DeVitis. I am a psychic, clairvoyant medium, and certified healer. I have also written a book, My Journey from Darkness to the Light, which is available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and on my website, www.healingsonthego.com. If you would like to book an appointment with me, call me at 917-929-4935. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back with my special guest, Matthew Pinyard. Yay! See, you look more like him. Look at that. That's awesome. You know, you're going to have to sing a song for us, right?
Yeah, I don't mind doing that at all. I think one of the most prophetic ones was called Waiting for the Sun. and I went online and there's a lot of, well, what was he talking about with these lyrics? And so he sings, waiting for the sun, waiting for the sun, waiting for you to come along, waiting for you to hear my song, waiting for you to tell me what went wrong. So he was literally saying, I'm waiting for you.
That's excellent.
He's saying, I'm waiting for you to come after me and decipher what went wrong. Where did I go wrong? Because I think he was feeling under attack, not just within his own band, but, people pointing the finger. He's falsely convicted in Miami for absolutely nothing. Could you imagine that, right? So, feeling the world is against him, and here he is, really, truly is this redeemer from this other world, this other galaxy, for real, that could see into the future. And had Jim tried to heal people, he would have been able to. I promise you that.
Definitely.
I think his music did in many ways. But waiting for the sun. So he's waiting for the sun. He used to say, when the true king's murderers are allowed to roam free, 1,000 magicians will arise in the land. So he saw this person coming after him that would be the son, the true king, that would have a lot of people wanting to also. There was a song he said, time to aim your arrows at the sun. Like, he knew that this person would not be accepted at all. And I could tell you horrendous stories from the military, high school, corporate America, where I was, completely done very wrongly, very, very much wrong.
That's horrible.
Well, it's because of we haven't corralled. I'm trying my best. I try to do exorcism as often as possible. And we have not done a great job as a world with getting rid of those fallen ones, because they're very deceptive. And since they were angels at one point, they can imitate light and try to convince you to do something that is really bad for you. But
exactly, they talk through your mind. And then I'm going to show my book, which it talks about how spirits talk and they download information. And this is my book, My Journey from Darkness to the Light. And everyone knows they can find it at healingsonthego.com. I would ask you later, but I can ask you now, where can they find your book?
Yeah, it's on Amazon or Barnes & Noble. It's In the Key of Believe. Also, my name, MatthewDouglasPenard.com is the website. There's links to it there. We just got a 5-star review. Yeah, I'll tell you this story really quick, because it's utter clairvoyance, but in prophecy, ultimately. This woman named Michelle had contacted me, and she's one of the chapters in the book, and her husband had passed and her son had passed. And she wanted me to kind of reach out to both and see if I could, communicate. And the husband showed me a number of things. He showed me a piggy bank, 2 phones, and a yellow bird, and then it was raining. So I just gave this information to her, and like 3 days later, she messaged me back. She goes, "You're not going to believe this, but today Darren's nephew went to the dentist and was carrying his piggy bank, and I was on the phone with my sister, and it was raining at my house. And as we're on the Zoom call, a yellow Spirit Airlines flight flew across the screen."
Wow.
That was the yellow bird. And so in the literal sense, when we pass over, time and space are utterly irrelevant. And we can tell people still hear future things. People have premonitions all the time, or prophecies. There's a lot of people right now online, and I try to pay attention to as much of it as I can that I think is a valid source. But there's a lot of people having rapture dreams. There's a lot of people having dreams of Jesus' second coming, and he was hovering above me, and he accepted me or he didn't, and here's why. So, and then they wake up in a cold sweat, and the dream seems very real to them. So there's a lot going on right now on our earth, and not just in terms of awakening, but I believe ancient prophecies being fulfilled, being in end times. That I just read today, there was a video on Facebook today, 50% of Christians in America believe we're in end times.
Wow, that's amazing.
I believe we're in Revelations. My books, I believe, prove it. There was a prophecy from 95 AD saying that a woman would appear as if she's clothed in the sun. And I have a photo of Mary doing this, and she's got 3 different colored orbs right here. And you can see the crease in her veil. And it happened right around the time when this prophecy was supposed to come to fruition, meaning wars, rumors of wars. We're seeing massive earthquakes, volcano eruptions. There was just a volcano the other day in Guatemala, and it shot this spider lightning up into the air, and it looked so apocalyptic.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's absolutely God talking, trying to warn.
Exactly. And that's what I want them to see, your beautiful pictures of the clouds. Bobby, if you can pull that up, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, there's one right there. When I show that to everybody, you can clearly see 2 wings ahead, kind of hands bowed in prayer. That appeared directly above Sacred Heart Catholic Church in Prescott, Arizona, a couple of years ago, at the height of when I was getting tremendous visitations from the other kingdom. There's a heart this was just the other day, actually, and you can see a little face right there at the top of it. Wow. I have quite a few heart photos like that, and typically it's kind of a winged figure doing it.
Wow, that's awesome. And how did you get into the clouds? Like,
that's a really good question. So it's kind of funny. Jim died in a bathtub in Paris in 1971, and I almost died in a bathtub in Michigan in 2017.
Wow.
And had an enormous intervention. I was the only one at home, and something had turned on the shower head to wake me up and save my life. And after that, I was driving to pray with a woman and went through a Chicago toll booth, and that's when Mary appeared clothed in the sun. And since her visitation, her apparition, thousands, over 10,000 angel photos. You can clearly see the body, wings, faces. At that point in time, I was praying with a child that had terminal brain cancer, Paxton, from my first book. So we were trying to save his life, and absolutely unbelievable things started happening when we were praying for him. A white dove appeared in the sky. An earthquake hit Pakistan, and the cancer. His name was Paxton, and he had brain cancer. And then he started telling his parents that a blonde man was coming into his room, giving him his own mansion in heaven soon. So anyone who doesn't believe in that realm, that was really the purpose of me writing these books, was to prove that there is another kingdom. And Jim talked about it. He called it the other kingdom. This other kingdom seems by far the best until its other jaw reveals incest and loose obedience to a vegetable law. That was one of his prophecies.
And they can reach you for a cloud reading, right? If somebody wanted to.
My contact information is on, there's a form to fill out on the website, MatthewDouglasPinard.com. I've done numerous, connected people with loved ones, gotten prophecy, even healings. There was a gentleman who just was in the New York Times who identifies as an atheist who was in this book, and I was asked to pray for him because he was diagnosed with terminal heart cancer.
Wow.
And we did, and his initial appeared in the sky, and then hearts appeared in the skies. You could see the tumor in the heart in the sky, and wings. And so last I heard, he's still living, and the cancer shrunk on its own without any modern medical treatment from the size of a Pepsi can down to the size of an apricot.
Well, thank God for that. That's awesome. Way to go.
If you ever, this guy was given a death sentence. He should not be alive. He was told 15, 18 months at the max, and he's now past 24 months.
Wow.
And living with this terminal tumor that shrunk on its own.
Yeah, that's a miracle.
Yeah, no, that just doesn't happen. So,
it's a plain miracle. That's what it is. Wow. Which one is your favorite song from The Doors?
When the Music's Over.
Nice.
One of them. And I'll tell you, it is a prophecy. So one of the lyrics is, when the music's over, turn out the lights. And what Jim is referencing there is there's a prophecy in the Catholic Church. This is not just from me. Numerous well-documented Catholic mystics have, over numerous centuries, have gotten these images of in the end times, because the world will be in such a dire state that, in the literal sense, we will be entered into what's called 3 days of darkness. So for 72 plus hours, you will not see the sun anywhere on the earth.
Wow.
And it's supposedly a time when Christ is cleansing the earth of these demonic entities, right? So Jim foresaw that. And when he sang "When the Music's Over," he's saying, "Turn out the lights, turn out the lights, turn out the lights." He says it over and over and over in the song. That's what he's referencing, that event.
Mm-hmm.
So something in his mind's eye also saw that too.
Do you want to sing "People Are Strange"? And we just wrote that song.
Sure, I can do that, because I kind of believe some of them are. People are strange when you're a stranger. Faces look ugly when you're alone. Women seem wicked when you're unwanted. Streets are uneven when you're down, when you're strange. Faces come out of the rain when you're strange. No one remembers your name.
Yay, awesome. You sound just like him, and we wrote that before, but I didn't want to cut you off.
Well, see, the funny part about, if you ask his bandmates, when Jim started as their lead singer, he couldn't sing.
Wow.
So if you believe my theory, whose voice really was it?
Wow.
I mean, I can tell you what I think, but
That's amazing. So back to your book. What is it about? If people are wondering, like, what is your book about?
In essence, things that are unexplainable, such as this angel appearing. And also, it talks about what are the events right now that suggest we're in end times. I'll point to open Satanism in Hollywood as one. We've had numerous celebrities come out, Halloween parties or album covers, and they're wearing demonic garb. And so, yeah, there's rumors of, rituals going on there, and I don't even want to know what they do in them. But more important than that, there's numerous stories. There's 2 stories in the book. A woman and a man, they had severe lupus, and their bodies just completely reversed. Of course, the guy's leg just went from 2 times the size and swollen to perfectly normal. The woman's lupus went into remission. There's a story about a relative of mine that was diagnosed with COPD, and his initial appeared in the skies and lungs appeared in the skies, but the lungs were clear, and I had done prayers for them, and they went back and got a lung scan, and they went from having COPD and emphysema to having nothing.
Wow, that's amazing. So your book is about the miracles that you've performed. That's awesome.
Well, if I start making that claim, they're going to crucify me again.
Exactly. You're going to be stoned.
Remember, one of Jim's lyrics was, "Cancel my subscription to the resurrection. Exactly. Send my credentials to the house of detention." So he realized, as I do too, is, if we talk too much about these things, we would become targets, for authorities that don't understand this power. And
exactly. So what's going to happen to you after that. Yes.
But in any event, no, yeah, the way I look at it is I just invoked some things. I was given a 3-line prayer from Mary when she visited me, and I simply invoked really high order, very powerful principalities from the other kingdom that did the healing, per God. But yeah, I think everybody has the capability of doing this if they really understand how to, and how to drive the fallen ones away when you're asking for these things, and bring the ones that are pure light, into the realm that can actually have the authority to change somebody's course in their life, even if, look at the guys, even if he's an atheist.
It's like you do it your way. I do my healings with candles mostly, and Reiki different. So everyone has their own gift in a different way. And it all depends if you're on the level or not. Some people don't believe in it. That's fine. To each is their own. Everyone has their beliefs. So you're right. It's all about opening up, attuning to the energy, and I always say do good and good will come back to you, because some people say, oh, there's no karma. Well, it doesn't. There is, first of all, but let's say you believe that there isn't. It's the wavelength that you're on. If you're doing negative stuff, what do you think you are, in heaven, or, as they say, the lower dimensions? So
yeah,
the energy is what attracts. So
yeah, I would completely agree with that statement. And it's hard in this world. There's so much temptation. There's so much, I look out there, social media, people, there's so much materialism right now, and so many people that don't want to hear something like this. But then there's people that have contacted me out of the blue. Like, I heard you can exercise things. How do you do it? How do I do it from my life? So, all I'm trying to do is fulfill the reason why I think I'm here. Why I know I'm here. And I look at some things in my life, and I was given second chances, like events where I could have died, and once you realize the impermanence of here, and number one, that it's not the end stop, right? There are other planes of existence after this, out of body.
Definitely. Like I said, we're not alone in this universe. It's impossible. There's so many planets we don't even know about. Our universe is humongous. We cannot be the only ones floating in the universe. We're going to take another quick break, and we will be right back right after these messages. Stay tuned, everybody. Hi, I am Linda DeVitis. I am a psychic, clairvoyant medium, and certified healer. I have also written a book, My Journey from Darkness to the Light, which is available on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and on my website, www.healingsonthego.com. If you would like to book an appointment with me, call me at 917-929-4935. Thank you. Welcome back, everybody, with my special guest, Matthew Pinyard. Yay! So, I would like to ask you, what was the meaning of turn out the lights in When the Music's Over?
Yeah, so that, again, that's Jim seeing ahead of time. And he's referencing there the 3 days of darkness that were prophesied in end times, that could still come to fruition. I mean, could you imagine this earth functioning for 72 hours without seeing the sun, right? And also, how does that happen, right? Like, what, astrophysicists would say, well, that's not possible in this universe. But we're talking about a creator that I believe currently is giving many, many, many warnings right now on Earth, and we're just kind of like not listening. So, for example, earthquakes. We're having just the other day, there were 5 massive earthquakes in one day. There's multiple volcanoes erupting right now. We just had another hurricane hit Florida. There's floods all over the planet right now, and almost on every continent, not to mention the wildfires.
Exactly.
And, it's literally very apocalyptic.
Yeah, very sad. I wanted to ask you, what did the lyrics, "The blue bus is calling us," mean? What did a blue rock on a bus mean?
Yeah, so I mentioned it earlier, if anyone's just joined us, but again, that's Jim seeing ahead of time and seeing himself with me later in life. And I did 4 years in the military, and when you go to basic training, they ship you around on blue buses.
Oh yes, you did answer that.
And then the Blue Rock. I was a football player in high school, and so we had blue jerseys that said Shamrocks. So Jim saw that I would be, he's saying trust the Blue Rock. He's speaking from a place of truth. He's somebody you can trust. But he's saying, come on, baby, take a chance with us. That's for the whole world. He's saying, take a chance with the two of us. We're right from Mary. We know what we're doing. We've done this before. This is not our first rodeo. We can lead you to, place of goodness. For example, ride the snake to the lake, the ancient lake. The snake is long 7 miles. That's just another reference where he's saying the snake will be 7 miles, meaning by the time I started writing my books and the gates of heaven were coming to earth and these things were coming with it, that if you added Jim's and I's ages together, it would equal 70.
Wow.
And the ancient lake was, at the time when this started, I was in West Michigan living next to an ancient lake called Lake Michigan. So he saw all these things in sequence. And it's just incredible that he put it down in the way he did. And I don't even know that his bandmates were truly in on the true meaning of what he was doing. But it was beyond prophecy. In the literal sense, in my opinion, it was almost like, so they've found this kind of wormhole now in Utah on Skinwalker Ranch. And I think what a wormhole is you can go to different dimensions, right? And universes. And space and time become kind of irrelevant. So what Jim was doing was he was literally seeing not where just he would be, but all of us 50 years down the road, and being able to piece by piece, song by song, piece together in a proper sequence how this all would start to unfold, meaning the beginning of the apparition of our mother clothed with the sun, and the earthquakes and volcanoes and the wars and rumors of wars, really fulfilling the first chapter of Revelation, which we're here, folks. and I don't mean to say these things to scare people, but now is a really good time, if you don't believe in the other kingdom, to try to connect with it, because there's nothing but goodness that can come from it. And there really is a huge effort from heaven to try to save all of us. Because it looks pretty bad right now from up there.
Yeah, it's like the apocalypse. Even Sylvia Browne wrote about it in her book.
Jim talked about, he called them Insanity's horses, or 7 horses that seem to be on the mark in the song Love Her Madly. So the horses of the apocalypse, if you really read into them, many people believe the pale horse was the pandemic, and the red horse is now this war in Ukraine, which could end up being a war in China or Taiwan with China. So these horses we're counting down, there's not a whole lot of them left. And if you believe in things like rapture or Christ's return, now would be a really good time to try to, connect with
Jesus. Exactly. And pray. That's all we need. We need a lot of prayers in this world. What does it mean? It hurts to set you free. It hurts to set you free, but you'll never follow me. Is that Jesus?
So some people ask, was Jim Jesus? It's a little bit more of a complicated question to answer than I can really do. The answer to it technically is yes and no. So he said, I'm Dionysus, and he wasn't wrong about that. Was he an incarnation of the sun? Yes. If you go to the mural in the Mission in Santa Barbara, you'll see an incredible prophetic painting done by Miguel Cabrera, like in the 16th, 17th century. And it's 3 suns hovering above Mary. So Jim was not lying in that regard, but it also gave him an out. So one of his lyrics was, Jesus, save us. He screams this, and when the music's over, Jesus, save us. So he's still calling out to that kingdom, and he realizes there is another son there, but he's also here delivering a message for that son. So that's what made him a prophet. And what he was given from the son, from Christ, was prophecy. An American Prayer by James Douglas Morrison is a prophecy. a very layered and very, very accurate one that did come true. So that's what he was channeling, like you channel, like I channel, right? I channeled this. So he was channeling Mary. He talks about Mary in many songs. He calls her Ashen Lady and changes it to Passions Lady. So he changes the lyrics. He knew I would pick up that was Mary. Only another son would understand him. The statue where I used to pray in West Michigan, it made her look ashen. So
Wow.
her face, and because of the statue, it's it's a gray statue, and so that's what he saw. He saw that, and he was just a clairvoyant prophet.
Yep, like Ann says, pretty scary nowadays, which it is. It is. Tell them about your last name, Pinard.
Yeah, technically it's a reference to cheap table wine in France. And I find that highly interesting for a number of reasons. Number one, Jim died in Paris. But right before he died, he also wrote, "Where's the wine, the new wine, dying on the vine?" So another thing that he saw in my life where I would be here, the new wine, same middle name, same similar features, but I'd be dying on the vine. What he meant by that, he would have referred to corporate America as the vine.
Wow, yeah, definitely. It's not fun working there.
I just went through a horrific experience, and it's the third time I've gone through something where you uncover there's massive fraud in a place you're at, and you're treated very poorly. And if there's any way I can never go back to it, I'm going to, because this is far more important to me. You can lose your soul pursuing material. So I hopefully I'll never go back to it, but if I do, it's going to be, in a role of possibly bringing healing to things that science says can't be healed.
I don't think you will, because your energy is going up. It's not your vibe. So you outgrew it long time ago. So now it's time for you to journey on to your purpose. And hopefully lots of people will definitely read your book and see how interesting it is and all the memories you have. They can find it on your site. What was your site again?
MatthewDouglasPinard.com or MatthewPinardAuthor.com.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, finding that Facebook post with the 3 stars, and this woman had put this together all on her own. Probably hasn't even read my book, even though I said that exact same thing in my book. Yes, I say that in here. Okay.
Look at that.
I have those exact 3 marks, and that's not a coincidence.
Wow.
And it was given to us for a reason. We're hunters of the green vest from the Orion Nebula, which is where all of us should hope to be at some point.
Anne is very sweet. She said, "You're an amazing guest, Matthew. I always look forward to seeing you." Thank you.
Thanks, Annie. Any song requests?
Yes, any songs? He'll play. He'll play it. He'll sing it.
I need a band, it's kind of a bummer, but
at the end of the show, we will play the little clip.
Take me to the next whiskey bar.
Take me to the next whiskey bar, my husband said.
That's my favorite song.
It's his favorite song.
Oh, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die.
That's awesome. And one more request. Light my fire. From Anne.
All right. You know that I would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, girl, we couldn't get much higher. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Try to set the night on fire.
Yay, excellent, Matthew. You're amazing. Wow. Everyone's like, wow, wow, wow.
Tour.
Come on, what are you waiting for? You're waiting to go corporate America? Go on tour.
Can you play drums, Linda?
Yes, I can. I'll be your drummer. She said you're amazing. Oh, that'll be fun. Awesome. You're
Well,
very remarkable.
this is for all of you, and I hope everyone reads it, because there's something in there for everyone. When you realize like this story could be me, or this could be my mom, or this could be my brother, or that's really why I wrote it.
Awesome. And show the title again so we can see it again.
In the Key of Believe.
Yes, it's amazing. And you have so many beautiful pictures of the clouds and how they speak. Spirit speaks to everyone in different ways, and he knows exactly how to read them. You're amazing with the cloud reading. I remember he gave me a reading about my dad, and he was so on point on his motorcycle. He's still riding it over there, huh?
that was probably the first thing I saw from him, and he was really so I sometimes when they're in high vibration, they come to you instantly. You don't even have to pray for them to come. They'll just and then you'll just start getting images like that, and you'll know it's not you. You'll know it's foreign. And so that was the first thing that he gave me when I walked into the church, and I didn't even have to say one Hail Mary. He just flooded me with that. So yeah, he was pretty vocal. And then the blue suit and the white shoes, like in the garden, like this guard, I think he showed me, my opinion is how he's going to greet you one day. And so you'll know it because you'll remember this, me telling you that he's waiting for you.
Yeah. Tell him to wait a little longer.
No, I mean, I don't mean like tomorrow.
I hope I don't go soon, because he scared me one time in a dream. He's like that I'm going 49, and it's stuck in my head. I'm going to turn 48 September 7th, coming soon, in a day or two. And I'm like, not one more year. Oh, God. I don't want to go yet.
Yeah, I'm already there. I'm 49, so.
Well, God bless you. But I don't want to die 49.
I don't fear it anymore, obviously, for obvious reasons.
I know.
What I do fear is this planet, like Jim said, the end. Going back to your question, it hurts to set me free, but you'll never follow me. So what Jim was really trying to say is, I've tried to give you this message of how to enter, right? I've tried to tell you the two keys and how to believe, and if you don't believe it, I can't force you to enter. You can't force somebody to enter higher vibration or higher consciousness or heaven. You can help show them the way. But he's saying, it hurts to set me free, but you'll never follow me. And if you reject my message, I have to go back to where I came from.
Okay, sorry to cut you off. We're out of time. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Again, healingsonthego.com, MatthewDouglasPinard.com.
Thanks again.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great night.
First flash of Eden, we race down to the sea, standing there on freedom's shore. Waiting for the sun, waiting for the sun, waiting for the sun. Can you feel it now that spring has come? And it's time to live in the scattered sun. Waiting for the sun, waiting for the sun, waiting for the sun. Waiting for the sun.